Good evening, class. We're in our last session for counseling techniques for helping clients with autonomy and self-determination. Our learning objectives is you will know the definitions of autonomy and self-determination. At the end of the class, you will know how to use the self-determination theory to help your clients to use self-determination in reaching goals and accomplishing tasks. The core issues trust reveals that principles protecting autonomy and self-determination. 1, clients have the right to a safe space for self-exploration and self-determination with a therapist who honors their freely chosen values. Clients have the right to integrate their personal values, spiritual beliefs, or religious faith into their therapy and their individual growth process. Clients should never be treated against their will or encouraged to seek therapy in ways that use manipulation, coercion, authoritism. Clients have the right to discuss their concerns and identity distress without being reduced to diagnostic categories or labels. Clients have the right to evaluate with the help of the therapist the risks and benefits of various options and conduct in order to promote personal responsibility and more effective choice making. Clients have the right to seek therapy from a licensed mental health professional for any personal motivation free from governmental obstruction or intrusion. That means that clients need a safe place to experience, to have their counseling experience. We should not be overbearing. We should not force things on them. We should let them be able to express themselves. We should address all biases that we have and prejudices that we have so that we won't make the client feel uncomfortable or feel like they have to do things our way or based on what we believe. The definition of autonomy is the principle that addresses the concept of independence. The essence of this principle is allowing an individual the freedom of choice and action. It addresses the responsibility of the counselor to encourage clients, when appropriate, to make their own decisions and to act on their own values. That means that you are supposed to assist your counselees with making decisions for themselves. You're not supposed to be telling them what they need to do to correct their problem or to make things easier for them. You're supposed to let them work through it themselves. You're just a guide. You're supposed to listen to them. You're supposed to give them direction. You're supposed to give them different skills and techniques to help them be successful in the counseling process. Self-determination theory is a micro theory of human motivation and personality that concerns people's inherent growth tendencies and innate psychological needs. SDT focuses on the degree to which an individual's behavior is self-motivated and self-determined. Examples of STD in psychology are: to understand self-determination theory, it can be useful to see some examples of people who are high in self-determination are thinking and acting in an autonomous and intricately motivated fashion. The best description of a self-determination determined individual is someone who believes she is in control of her own life, takes responsibility for her own behavior, taking credit and blame when either is warranted, is self-motivated instead of driven by others' standards or external sources, determines her actions based on her own internal goals and values. That means that although you assist the client, you cannot be that client's primary motivation for doing better or getting better out of their lives. You are a source of helping them to be self-motivated. And you will find that sometimes clients will pretend to be self-motivated, all for the sake of trying to please you or make you happy, think that they're giving you what you want. You must be able to recognize that and help them understand that they must have that motivation from within. The man who decides to pick up a new hobby because he thinks he'll enjoy it is exhibiting self-determination, while the man who picks up a new hobby because it seems prestigious or impressive is not. So most self-determined people are doing things for their own self-gain, self-satisfaction, what makes them happy, what is pleasing to them. It's not for what other people will think or their opinion or acceptance. A lot of times people find themselves in counseling because they want to be accepted by different people and they have been experienced the pain of rejection, and they find themselves in a state of depression or feeling unwanted, unneeded, worthless. And a lot of times they'll come to counseling, but we have to help them find peace within themselves. Similarly, the woman who blames all of her ex-lovers for ruining their relationships is not displaying the self-determination. The woman who takes responsibility for her part in contributing to unhealthy or unhappy past relationship is showing self-determination. That means that we must take responsibility for the part that we play in our own failures. We can't lash out at other people and blame other people because we fail, and we must help our counselees to understand that they're in the situation that they're in because of the way that they have responded to certain situations. We have to get them on a streamline to respond differently. What did you do wrong to get here? What problems did you create to get you to this place, and what needs to change to get you out of that place and to keep you from going to that place again? The theme is those who take responsibility for their actions and do things because they align with their own personal values and goals are self-determined. And those who blame others see themselves as constant victims and do things solely or external approval or recognition are not. So if you're just doing something to be pleased, to please others or to make other people happy, you're not self-determined. It should be all about pleasing yourself, making yourself happy, doing what's best for you. You can't worry about what's going on the outside of you. Although it impacts your life, it cannot be the total focus of your life. So we must help our counselees to understand that. Have you all ever been in a situation where you find yourself in a position and you blame others because of their actions instead of how you responded to the situation?
Yeah. Yes.
When you realize that you played a part in it, what did you do to make the situation better or to make it where that you didn't find yourself back where you were?
Change my behavior and how I respond to things.
That's good. It's all about changing behaviors and how you're responding. We have to come to the realization and understanding that we can't change people. It's up to us to change us. We are not in control of people. We're only in control of ourselves and our actions, our responses. So we got to get out of the mindset, and we must help our counselees get out of the mindsets that we have to change people, change the way that they treat us. We can't change the way that people treat us because they have in their own mind how they see us, how they view us, how they feel about us, and they treat us accordingly. It's up to us to respond to that in a positive or negative way. If people are giving us negative energy, we have the right, we have the responsibility to ourselves to move ourselves away from that negative energy or to do whatever is necessary to eliminate or decrease that negative energy, that energy that makes us feel bad, that brings us down, that makes us unhappy, makes us sad, gives us that depressing feeling. So that's what we have to display to our counselees. It's not about what people are doing to you. What are you doing in response to what you feel like or think that they're doing to you? Research has suggested that programs designed to improve the following skills and abilities can boost self-determination. So we can add these skills into our counseling sessions to help our counselees understand that this will help them grow and making better decisions for themselves. Self-aware. Be aware of who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do. Be aware of your feeling, your prejudice about things. We have to encourage them. Be self-aware. Know who you are. Know what you stand for. Know what you believe. Understand your own morals and values. Don't compromise them for the sake of approval of others. Decision making. We must be We must be able to make decisions for ourselves. We can't depend on other people to make decisions for us, because nobody knows what's best for us but us. Goal setting. Set goals. You know, we can't go from day to day just hoping things will fall in place. We have to set goals. We have to be able to set things in order to reach those goals. Goal attainment. When we reach those goals, set some more goals. Don't just stop and stay stagnant in one place. Communication and relationship skills. We must know how to communicate with others and build positive relationships. Ability to celebrate success and learn from mistakes. We must be able to acknowledge when we've succeeded, reward ourselves. We must teach our clients about rewarding themselves. If you set a goal, you attain that goal, reward yourself. But if you fall short of that goal, you must deny yourself something to let you know that you have more work to do. Reflection on experiences. And don't just push things into the far back of our mind, or push things under the rug, as people would say. We must come face to face with our experiences, regardless of how bad they are, how bad they make us feel, how negative they are for our lives. We must come face to face with them so that we can realize what the problem is and what we need to do to resolve that problem, to make it better, that we won't make that same mistake again. How to promote and encourage self-determination skills. It may be difficult to think about how self-determination skills can be taught or encouraged in others. This might feel like a trick question, since self-determination is, by definition, not directed by others. However, there are some things we can do to help clients develop self-determination, specifically focus on enhancing and encouraging their self-awareness and self-knowledge, goal-setting abilities, problem-solving skills, decision-making skills, ability to self-advocate, ability to create action plans to achieve their goals, self-regulation and self-management skills. I want to go to self-advocate. We must be able to advocate for ourselves, fight for ourselves. A lot of times we back down because we're afraid of people, because of their position, because of who they are, prestige and honor, titles. We back down. We don't want to stand up and say what we feel because of what they can do to us or what problems they can cause for us. And that causes some internal problems for us, some mental and emotional stress for us. And we must teach our clients not to back down. Stand up, fight for yourself in a positive and mature way. Speak it in a manner where they'll understand that you're not going to tolerate their behaviors or how they treat you, and that, you know, that you all can treat each other with mutual respect. And here's a graph regarding self-determination. Competence. The human's three basic needs are competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Competence needs to be effective in dealing with the environment. That means that you must have competence. You must know how to deal with your environment, the things that are going on around you without falling apart or let it get to you to the point that you can't function. Self-autonomy and self-determination is all about functioning even in difficult situations. Autonomy, the need to control the course of their own actions. You have a need. Your life has a need to control your own actions. You cannot let people push you into behaving in a way that is unlike you, or that brings down your demeanor, or distracts you, or discourages your character. Relatedness, need to have a close, affectionate relationship with others. Although we sometimes like to feel like we don't need anybody, we all need somebody sometime. And we must know how to relate to people. We must know how to build positive relationships. A lot of times people begin to shy away from building relationships because of one bad relationship. We must deal with those relationships, and we must teach our clients, deal with the relationship, the bad relationship, what happened in it, so that you can move forward and begin to build more positive relationships, and that you can recognize the signs of a bad relationship and get out before it causes you any harm. Autonomy. People have a need to feel that they are the masters of their own destiny and that they have at least some control over their lives. Most importantly, people have a need to feel that they are in control of their own behavior. Competence. Another need concerns our achievements, knowledge, and skills. People have a need to build their competence and develop mastery over tasks that are important to them. Relatedness, also called connection. People need to have a sense of belonging and connectedness with others. Each of us needs other people to some degree. And here's the self-determination continuum. Non-self-determination and self-determination. You're teaching your clients to move from non-self-determination to self-determination. It takes motivation. And you move from motivation to from non-regulation. What is the source of your motivation? What regulates your motivation? Competence, external rewards, and punishments are all extrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation move to intrinsic regulation. That's your interest, your enjoyment, inherent satisfaction. You're all about satisfying you, making yourself happy. And we're going to watch a short video about self-determination. Okay, so that was telling us how we need to start making decisions for our careers. How many of us are just working in jobs because it was a job that we were able to get?
Most everybody.
Yeah, I mean, because jobs are hard to come by. But when you think about a career, it's about choosing something, choosing a job that makes you happy.
Right.
And in counseling, you need to enjoy it to be able to help the people that come to you for help. You can't help anybody be happy or be successful if you feel like you're not happy and successful yourself. So in choosing a career in counseling, we must begin to self-advocate, be self-aware. What is it in counseling that I really can't deal with? Let's talk about our prejudices and our beliefs and our values. Okay, what is something that you have been taught that is not acceptable, and if a client came to you to help them with this type of situation, how would you go about handling it? I mean, anything. Suicide, same-sex marriages, what else is there? Drug addiction, alcoholism.
You saying was?
Well, let's talk about domestic violence. Okay, suppose a client came to you and they're in a domestic violent relationship. They're being controlled. They don't have the choice of making decisions for themselves. And basically they're sneaking to come to you for counseling because they want a way out. You've never been involved in a domestic violent relationship. Because of the strength that you have, you possibly can just walk away, and you don't understand why this person continues to go back, why this person just won't leave. How would you counsel this person? What techniques and skills could you use to help this person understand you have a choice? You are an individual. You do not have to stay in this. How can you say that to them without saying that to them? Because they've been told this time and time again. You don't have to stay there. You need to leave. You need to get out. But based on statistics, people that are involved in domestic violent relationship can't just up and leave. It's not that they are being held there in bondage. It's a mental thing. It's an emotional thing. They have a need for this person. This person has become their way of life. So how do we help this person understand you have a choice? How can we help this person that has come to us regarding domestic violence?
Give them a life-changing experience. Let them lay in a casket and show them how it really would feel for them to be gone away from their family.
Well, how will you help them become, let's choose self-aware. How would you help them become self-aware that they're in a bad situation? Because they feel like they're in a bad situation, but they just don't accept that they're in a bad situation because it's their life. It's what they know.
Use their kids as an example. They have kids as an example. I mean, because in domestic relationships, if anything, they try to protect their kids. So I would say use their kids as an example of what could possibly happen if they didn't get out of the relationship.
Okay. What kind of questions would you ask your counselee to help them begin on the path of autonomy and self-determination, to start making decisions for themselves? What kind of questions would you ask them to help them realize, hey, this could really end up bad for me? I mean, because you can't ask them, why do you stay? Because they stay because that's what they know. They stay because that's where they're comfortable. They stay because they're afraid. They stay because they don't. What would they do if they leave? What would happen if I leave? This has become what I know. I don't know anything else. What would happen if I leave?
What would happen if you don't leave?
That's a good question. Have you thought about what do you plan to be a year from now? What do you want to do a year from now? What will make you happier tomorrow than you are today? What are some of the things that you enjoy that you don't get to do? What are some of the things that make you happy that you don't get to do? Those are some good questions that will help them understand, hey, I'm not living my best life. I'm not doing the things that I want to do. I'm only doing what I'm allowed to do. So I'm being controlled by somebody else because I want them to love me. I want them to be with me, but I'm not happy. So we have to help them understand you have a life. You have a choice. You have desires. You have things that you want to do. You have things that you need to do. But you are being held in a position that you're not being allowed to make those decisions for yourself. And you need to make some choices now that you can start living your life and stop living according to somebody else's life. Because basically in domestic violent relationship, that's what they're doing. They're living according to how this person wants them to live instead of living how they choose to live or desire to live, which is a miserable place to be, I'm sure. I've never been in a domestic violent relationship because I've always had a strong personality, but we meet those people that don't have a strong personality. They don't have good self-esteem. Not because they choose not to, but it could be because of things they've experienced as children. People that experience child abuse sometimes have a tendency to not have self-confidence. So they have the tendency, a lot of abusers come from being abused. So we have to think about that as well. So basically, our learning objectives was to teach our clients that they have a choice in the lives that they live, the decisions that they make. And the decisions that they make will have a strong impact on their own self-satisfaction and their own happiness. So what did you get out of the lesson?
Dang, it was so much. Basically you got to learn how to help people have determination without, and that they can't always lean and depend on you. They gotta have their own self-determination. You can't just always just, try to say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to think to yourself, what do I need to do?
Good. That's right. What do I need to do? I had a client to call me 3 o'clock one morning because they were having an issue that they already knew the answer to the issue. They know what they needed to do, but they wanted my approval. I can't give you my approval. You have already determined what you need to do to solve this situation. What is the next step to get to where you're trying to go? You can't always give people their answer. They have to understand for themselves. Because if you start giving them answers, they're going to always come back to you for answers. Always come back. They're never going to think for themselves. That's even with our own children. We can't always give them the answer. We can't always bail them out. We have to let them figure it out themselves. What did you learn?
Sometimes take a step back and look at yourself. A lot of situations and how you react.
Right. A lot of our own stress comes from how we respond to the environment and the situations and the circumstances around us. So we have to take a step back and understand, how is this affecting me? What impact is this having on me in my life? If none, is there a need to respond?
No.
There's no need to respond. You don't always have to respond to everything. We have a choice in the matter. So I hope this lesson has been as enjoyable to you as it has been to me. And I'm hoping that you will go out being counseling professionals that can help your clients have self-determination and autonomy. Thank you.